My name's Emily and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I live on the Victorian coastline with my husband Craig, my dog Zoe and my 4 cats. We have a tiny garden in our house and we also have this plot here at our local community garden. And basically what I'm trying to do is live as sustainably as we can, which means that I'm trying to grow as much food as possible here at the community garden and at my home to feed myself and my husband and support the local wildlife. So today's garden tour is here at the plot. I'm going to see what's grown, what's been successful so far this autumn and possibly what's been eaten by the critters. So let's do it. So the first thing that we've got that's doing really well that I'm super excited about is my broad beans. You can see them here. I started them all from seed at home at the end of spring and then planted them out here and they just keep growing. They're getting more and more sprouts on the bottom, like branches off the bottom. And they're doing really well. I'm really excited. I love fresh broad beans. If you've ever had fresh broad beans picked off the broad bean plant, they're completely different to frozen broad beans or broad beans that you get from the fruit and veg shop, which have got older and bigger. It's a completely different thing. If you think you don't like broad beans, try growing your own or find some that are like fresh from the farmer, like really fresh from the farmer, because they're completely different and they're amazing. The way that I cook them when we have them is, my favorite way is to either, I've put them in pasta and they've been delicious in a pasta with like a buttery sauce. But even if you don't do something like that, just sauteing them lightly and warming them through in a pan with some butter and some salt and pepper, they're amazing. Okay, so this is really cool as well. I'm very excited about that. I thought all of my kale had been pretty much eaten, but I've got a red kale that's coming along here, so we're gonna get some kale. And I think we've got some black kale. We've got 2 black kales here that are doing quite well. All of my stuff's ended up a little bit leggy, but it hasn't stopped it growing, so that's really exciting. As you can see, I had a couple of tags there for Brussels sprout reds, red Brussels sprouts. They've got eaten or gone to God, so that's not happened. Over the back here, I've got 3 more kale, black kale, by the looks of it. I didn't think any of it had taken, to be honest, so I've got 3 more black kale. All of that behind there is just weeds, other than those 3. And the Brussels sprout tags that you can see in the back there, have not taken. There were Brussels sprouts in there, but I think they've all been eaten by grubs and bugs. So we're not going to get any Brussels sprouts from the plot this year, which is really disappointing. Here, my cornflower. I've got a black cornflower that I started at home and I've planted, and it seems to have actually survived, which is really exciting. It hasn't been eaten by any bugs and grubs, so I am really pleased about that. So it'll be nice to see when it flowers what it looks like. Along this part of the bed, I had some problems, as if you've watched my videos, as you would know. I planted peas and broccoli. The peas look like they've, I've got one sad one still here. Just here, which isn't doing a great deal, but it looks like it's started to grow around the wire, which is exciting, which is good. And I've got a broccoli. I didn't think I was going to get any broccolis, but this one broccoli seems to have taken. So that's pretty great. And possibly a second one here, but it's a bit further behind the other one. I didn't have much success with my beetroot that I started at home and then sowed in the garden. It all pretty much died off. So what I did was I direct sowed some gold and red beetroot. So here, there, and there. might get some beetroot. And then I also sowed some carrots along this row, along here, and here. They haven't taken quite as successfully as the beetroot, but I've got some carrots that look like they're taking, and they've germinated and come up and survived the grubs and the bugs, so that's good. So we've got some carrots coming along. The basil is dead. It's well past its use by date now, so we can pretty much pull that out. And my chamomile is doing well. I planted some chamomile in here, and it seems to have survived as well, which is also very, very exciting. I'm pleased about that. But the tags that you can see from this side, so the Brussels sprout reds, red Brussels sprouts, and I had a hollyhock. There's nothing there. I think they've been eaten. So this year I just have to work out next year how to protect my seedlings long enough for them to survive without getting eaten by the bugs, to get big enough that they don't get eaten. So we gave the rainbow chard. The rainbow chard was looking pretty sad in my last video. We gave it all a feed. We put some organic material into the soil to help with water permeability, and then we gave everything a good water, and then we gave the rainbow chard a little bit of a prune back, and they're still hanging in there. We've got some really nice growth here, which is good, so hopefully these will last for a bit longer. The red one started to get some sort of rust coloured type stuff on it. I tried to cut a lot of it off about 2 weekends ago when we were down, but I think I'm going to have to do it again just to clean it up. Or if the red ones are going to get sick but the green ones are going to keep going, I might take the red ones out. So the garlic is doing really well. I'm really pleased with how the garlic's going. Obviously we've got quite a while to go before it's ready to harvest, but it's doing really nicely. I'm looking forward to lots of fresh grown garlic. So not a lot of change there, some extra growth, but otherwise it's still the same. We're still waiting for our onion to ripen. So we didn't know when the onion was going to be ready to pick. It's been here for quite some time, since spring, but it turns out that the onion's ready to pick when the stem at the bottom gets soft and squishy. So you can look at the top, and if the top starts to die off a little bit, the real test for an onion is when it gets soft and bendy. So when we go to pick it, I'll show you what it looks like. We found out how to tell if it was ripe. I watched a video, Doug and Stacey, living off grid with Doug and Stacey, and they showed in one of their videos how to tell if an onion's ready to pick. So I'll link that video below because it was really informative, and so now we know when to pick our onion. So the carrots are actually looking quite good over here. So these ones are the ones I sowed at home and then transplanted into the plot. As you can see, there's a couple that are missing. This one looks like it's missing or been disturbed a bit by the birds, local wildlife. But overall, we've got quite a few that have survived. So we might get some homegrown carrots. And my one broccoli that I transplanted here, the golden broccoli, is still doing its thing. Not sure how healthy it looks, to be honest, but it's there, so we will see what comes of it. And then onions. I love onions, and the onions seem to be doing okay. So we've got brown and red onions. I could have sworn I planted white salad onions, but it turns out that I didn't. I don't know what happened to them, but anyway, need to do a bit of weeding. But the onions are looking quite good. There's one here that's a big red one that's doing really well. So we've got some brown onions and some red onions to look forward to, and the tatsoi. I love tatsoi. Tatsoi is great. It's a bit wholly, it's been eaten, it's still only little, but I like to use tatsoi. I like to pick the leaves and then chop them up and use them in salad. They're really nice to give it a bit of texture, but you can stir fry it, you can do all sorts of things with tatsoi. So thank you for joining me here at the plot for another garden tour. I look forward to seeing you in my next video, and we'll do a garden tour at my home. Until then, see you later.